What Caitlin Clark did, because so many eyeballs were on her, was she is a huge multiplier effect of.
The WNBA is buzzing with excitement as the Indiana Fever make waves under their new GM, Amber Cox. With bold and strategic moves, the team is quickly gaining attention. One of Cox's most talked about decisions was letting Tammy Bentley go in the expansion draft, a choice that sparked controversy among fans.
The entire world was shocked during the WNBA expansion draft when Tammy Bentley became available, especially because when you look at last season, she played a really huge part in the Fever's success in terms of getting to that point where you all were able to make the playoffs.
Move is all part of a calculated plan to build a super team that could reshape the league's future. Next voik. Let's talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. It's real, folks. Her impact isn't just about scoring points. Clark has this incredible ability to turn casual fans into die-hard supporters. People aren't just showing up to games, they're walking out with season tickets. A practice game even sold out because of her. A practice game, that's the kind of hype she's bringing. She's single-handedly elevating women's basketball into the mainstream, and you can either get on board or miss out.
I see a lot of players wanting to go, in this offseason, a lot of players are going to want to go to the Fever.
Of course, not everyone's a fan of Caitlin Clark's spotlight. Sheila Johnson, co-owner of the Washington Mystics, threw some shade, saying the entire WNBA deserves attention, not just one player. Cue the drama. I get the sentiment, but let's be real. Caitlin Clark is the reason many people even know the WNBA exists right now. Her record-breaking performances and star power are undeniable, and the league needs her. Sorry, Sheila, but the truth stings.
Think of who potentially could be in their plans. Like, obviously, Satu Sabali is a potential player who you can get via some sort of.
Cox isn't bothered by the shade. She's fully backing Caitlin Clark, calling her a huge multiplier for the league, and she's spot on. Clark isn't just filling seats, she's giving the league something it's been missing for years: buzz. Sure, players like Angel Reese and Cameron Brink are fantastic, but Clark is on a whole different level. She's not just a star in women's basketball, she's a global phenomenon.
We're obviously at this very pivotal time in the WNBA, and obviously led by the Indiana Fever. But I think all those experiences will lend themselves to hopefully doing the best job possible.
The Indiana Fever just made a move that's got fans questioning everything, leaving Tammy Bentley unprotected in the WNBA expansion draft. Bold or reckless? That depends on who you ask. This isn't just some bench player we're talking about. Bentley averaged 6.4 points and 5.7 rebounds in 2023 and played a key role in the Fever's playoff push. Now, she's headed to the Golden State Valkyrie, and Fever fans are left wondering if GM Amber Cox is a genius playing 4D chess or just randomly throwing darts at a board.
As we get into free agency, the number one priority for us is re-signing Kelsey Mitchell. I think that backcourt was about as lethal as we've seen in the WNBA, and I'm talking maybe in history in the second half of the season last year.
Naturally, social media went wild. Fans are divided. Some believe Amber Cox knows exactly what she's doing, while others are saying, "This is why I don't watch the Fever." Theories are flying left and right. Some think it's all about freeing up cap space for a big-name free agent, while others are dreaming up wild trade scenarios with draft picks and superstar players. Meanwhile, Cox is calling it a difficult decision, which is GM speak for, "We know you're upset, but trust the process." Apparently, that process involves letting go of a solid player in pursuit of a bigger vision for a championship team. Sounds risky, right? It probably is, but hey, at least the Fever are making headlines, and that has to count for something.
We want to reunite Caitlin and Kelsey, and Kelsey, when I think about her and her time in Indiana, and a lot of trials and tribulations throughout her career. So for me and for us, I'm most excited for her to be in this moment and experience so much.
Let's be real. The WNBA isn't exactly known for teams pulling off these so-called master plans. More often than not, they flop harder than a bad free throw. But credit to Amber Cox for having the guts to try something different. This move shows the Fever are thinking long-term, even if it means taking some serious heat in the short term. Whether this gamble pays off or ends in disaster is still up in the air, and for now, Fever fans are biting their nails, hoping this isn't just another case of a WNBA team shooting itself in the foot.
Respond to those comments, and do you think the award should have been given to the entire WNBA rather than Caitlin Clark individually?
I think Caitlin Clark deserved.
And Washington Mystics co-owner Sheila Johnson, responded to that by saying, I think the WNBA in its entirety should have been.
Here's where things get interesting. Word is, the Fever have their sights set on Satu Sabali in free agency. And let me tell you, Sabali isn't just any player. She's the kind of talent that makes coaches drool. Last season, she averaged 17.9 points per game, shot 45.2% from beyond the arc, and brought defensive versatility that every team dreams of. She's not just a good fit for next Voik. And then there's the social media tea. Sabalei's been liking comments suggesting she should team up with Caitlin Clark in Indiana. Coincidence? Maybe, but it's hard to overlook, especially when you factor in her connection to Amber Cox, who used to be her boss, and Aaliyah Boston, who shares the same sports agent. If the Fever manage to land Sabally, it's game over for the rest of the league. Trying to guard a lineup that's stacked? Good luck with that.
Other players that brought more eyeballs, Angel, Cameron, right? Like the identity and how much brand recognition these players now have in college absolutely helped the W. Never seen anything like Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar, not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
If the Fever can't land Sabally, Gabby Williams is a solid backup. While Sabalei's the crown jewel, Williams' defensive skills still add value. Adding Sabally would shift the power in the league. Amber Cox isn't just signing players, she's building a culture. If Sabally joins, it's a statement. The Fever aren't here to play, they're here to dominate.
Typically has such a unique skill set. She loves to run, just incredible vision. Stephanie White sat down right where you are and said, we want to run. So how much are you thinking about the fit here as you close in on free agents?
It's the most important thing, right? You've got to get the players that fit with the system Stephanie wants to have on the floor.
Her ability to run the floor with Caitlin Clark and how their games complemented each other. When we think about, that expansion draft, what was the thought process in making her available?
If the Fever can't land Sabally, Gabby Williams is a solid backup. While Sabalei's the crown jewel, Williams' defensive skills still add value. Adding Sabally would shift the power in the league. Amber Cox isn't just signing players, she's building a culture. If Sabally joins, it's a statement. The Fever aren't here to play, they're here to dominate.
Obviously, we want to take the next step. So I think as we're looking to free agency, we'll think about veterans coming in with that playoff experience.
Draft is difficult. It's hard to lose a player. 6 is not very many when you think about protecting anybody on your.
If the Fever can't land Sabally, Gabby Williams is a solid backup. While Sabalei's the crown jewel, Williams' defensive skills still add value. Adding Sabally would shift the power in the league. Amber Cox isn't just signing players, she's building a culture. If Sabally joins, it's a statement. The Fever aren't here to play, they're here to dominate. If the Fever can't land Sabally, Gabby Williams is a solid backup. While Sabalei's the crown jewel, Williams' defensive skills still add value. Adding Sabally would shift the power in the league. Amber Cox isn't just signing players, she's building a culture. If Sabally joins, it's a statement. The Fever aren't here to play, they're here to dominate.